All right, in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing how to use Cobalt Strike to create a PowerShell scripted web delivery beacon, and then connecting back and grabbing that payload, and then having that beacon connect back to the team server. So I'm going to walk through that process. The first thing you have to do is to create a listener on the Cobalt Strike side. So over here, you can press right here, this icon right here to configure our listener. And then, okay, that opens up the listener tab down here. And then we could add a listener. And then right here, we're going to be choosing a beacon HTTP listener, and we can just give it a name. So we'll put HTTP. And for the host, we're going to put the IP address of our team server here. So add a callback host. This is the IP address of this VM. So I'll add that. And for the stager, that's the same thing. And the port is going to be 80. So all that looks good. We save it. And if everything's good, Cobalt Strike will pop up started listener. And for the listener tab here, you're going to see your listener here. So here's our HTTP listener. So we have our listener, and so the next part is to actually create our hosted PowerShell web delivery payload. That's a mouthful, but it's not too bad. So we go here under attacks, web drive-by, and then scripted web delivery. So what we have to do here is we have to pick a URL for the website that this is going to host. And then it's going to be local port 80. And then we're going to pick our listener, so the listener that we just created. So we can push that button and then click here and then choose that as a listener. And then for here, it's going to be the script is going to be PowerShell. We're going to put that. And for x86, I think the target's going to be that. So we can click that and then we can launch. Okay, so now our web server here that Cobalt Strike is running, it's going to be hosting that PowerShell script. And the event log here, you can kind of see it that it says, hey, it's going to be serving that at this URL. So let's go back to our. So when that runs successfully, you're going to get this success message, and it's going to tell you the exact PowerShell command that you have to run on your target system, your victim system, in order to get a beacon to be launched on the victim system. So we can copy this, click OK, and now I'm going to jump to my target here, which is this Windows system, so I can paste that. So right, I'm kind of like showing this in a lab environment, but for a red teaming exercise, basically you would somehow get your target user to execute this in some manner. So maybe an email or something like that, right? So the way that this is given by default, it gives the PowerShell parameter of hidden, so that after this runs, it's no longer going to take the focus of the command prompt. But because we're in a lab environment, so we can sort of see what's going on, I'm going to remove that hidden property. But if you're going to use it for an actual exercise, you would leave that there, right, to be more quote unquote stealthy. So with that, right, I'm going to execute. But before that, let's go back to Cobalt Strike. So this pane right here in Cobalt Strike, it shows all of the beacons that we currently have access to. So currently we don't have any beacons. So we go back here and then we run this on our victim machine. And over here, in this pane, you notice that we got our beacon callback. And also here in the event log, we see that that came back as well. So now to interact with that beacon on that victim VM, we would then go here, click it, right click it, and then we could click interact. And that's going to down here open a tab for it, right? And by default, if you see the time over here, by default, the value is that our beacon will check in every minute. I want to interact with it, so I can make it check in right away. So to do that, I could run the sleep 0 command to make it interactive. So now it's interactive, and so now we can kind of wait right here, right? So it's been 43 seconds or so since the last time the beacon checked in to our server. And then so once it hits that minute mark, we should have some results here from our beacon. Right there, right? So now it called back, and now we could run different commands. So you can run help to sort of see all the different commands, and I highly recommend that you do so to sort of like see what's there. And you can look at the Cobalt Strike documentation to see what all these commands do. A command that I like to run is get UID, just to see sort of the UID, right? You can run PS to see all of the different processes. You could run netstat, I believe. Nope. So to run command that will be actually executed as shell command on the target system, you could run shell, and then you could run the actual native command itself on the target. So me, I want to run netstat-na, and that should give you all the results of the netstat command on the victim's system. So that is, in a nutshell, a quick demo of using the PowerShell scripted web delivery and setting up a listener and executing on the victim system to actually get a beacon, and then some simple beacon commands. And with that, I will, come on, pop up. Oh, geez. Okay, there we go. And with that, I will